How's it going, Andrew?
What's going on, my dude?
Weather's getting nicer. It looks like the grass is starting to grow. I'm going to be doing some cutting eventually here.
So you know how everyone knows that I like my plants. So one would probably have to guess. They'd have to guess that every day I go and stare at my beds ever since it's slightly warmed up a couple weeks ago to see if the hard-fought perennials that I put in are returning or have they fallen to the weather. And so every day I've been going around and getting more concerned every day. I go, man, did I put too much leaf litter? Because I leaf littered them all. And then I had hay bales that were used for Halloween decorations. I spread those on top as like a little warm winter blankie. And all my plants are supposed to be good at dealing with leaf litter. They're all forest plants, right? They should be able to push up. But I don't know for certain. I asked AI if that was true. Do I trust it? Not when the spring's just starting. I'm not so sure. So I go, I'm walking around every day. And today I go out and I look in one of my beds and I see 5 little clusters of leaves pushing up and out. And then I go running over to another bed and I can see another part is coming up. And then my other ones, there's like 5 more plants trying to burst out. So they're back, baby. They're coming back.
Nice.
It felt good.
I'm pretty sure I lost a couple in the process of winter.
Don't lose
But I
faith.
think I had lost them before winter happened. So I'm not too concerned about them. I wasn't too impressed by those anyways. I can't remember what the name of them was off the top of my head right now. But I have to go out there and be very careful because I already have weeds coming in. And I'm like, well, shit, now I got to weed the bad stuff and try to remember what the good stuff would look like at this young of an age. So that's going to be a fun little project.
I take a pretty light hand through May. So if I see a weed that I know, like I go, that is weed, not is that plant of mine or not plant of mine? You know what I mean? So I will only pull weeds that I'm 100% certain, like a thistle or creeping Charlie or something I look at and go, I am 100% certain you're weed, I'll rip it. Any other plant, I'll go, I'm going to keep an eye on you and we're going to see what you become. And then depending on what it becomes, it either stay or go. And so I take a light approach until I can figure out what it is. Because out of curiosity, too, I want it to grow just enough so I can identify, okay, so this is what a young version of this looks like. Plunk, and then away it goes. Just don't let it go to seed.
Right.
Well, you're going to deal with it anyway. So yeah, very exciting. Now I know spring's here because the little planties are pushing up. It's going to be year 2 perennials, and I'm excited because first year they sleep, second year they creep, third year they leap. So I'm excited for some creepers.
There you go. I think, I'm going to trigger a bunch of people here by saying this if I don't preface it with, I'm just joking, but I think I'm just going to go get a whole bunch of creeping bellflower and plant it all over the place because then I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, God, I fucking hate creeping bellflower. But you know what my biggest issue is?
Like
bittersweet nightshade.
Invasives ever.
I have bittersweet nightshade that has a colony underneath my neighbor's pine tree. It's under their pine tree and the neighbors, and it's buried under there, and you can't even get in there easily, and there's a whole colony, so it's just something that's going to exist in my life, and I hate it. It stinks, and it's poisonous.
What's wrong with... Yeah, okay, so what? Stay away from it.
It's invasive, it's poisonous, it outcompetes. It's like another bellflower, basically.
Yeah, it's not as bad, though.
Is it? Is it not as bad? It chokes out plants, it'll steal sunlight, it
doesn't spread as quickly as creeping bellflower does. Creeping bellflower is a problem because it's like massively invasive.
Yeah,
bittersweet nightshade's been around for a long time and it hasn't taken over everything yet.
But bittersweet nightshade. Oh, you say that? Go walk down by the beach. You'll see it in every little pocket, and also with it spreads via ribosome, and if the ribosome snaps, it stays. It can form into hard wood, and it also spreads via the seeds, which it does lots of seeds, and birds can carry the seeds, so it really does. It go. Speaking of sweet nightshades, we have a special guest today. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna disagree in the intro here. We're gonna get fired up over gardening. You better hit that music so we can bring on the guest.
All right, I'm gonna hit it up.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
All right. We are back on. We have a very special guest today. We are joined by Worshipful brother, Max Skenandore of Rhinelander Lodge 242. Welcome to the show. Clap sounds. You must unmute yourself.
He did. I already said thanks, Andrew.
Mine says he's muted.
I can hear him.
Oh, it was just muted just for me.
Uh-oh.
I got it back.
Well, I'm very glad he unmuted. He was able to hear me after I was done talking all that crap.
Sorry, Max. We're going to prevent ourselves from becoming annoying radio jockeys with too much use of the sound. So, oh no, it looks like he muted him.
No, I love it.
Well, what the heck's he going to do with this conundrum? You're like, oh no.
It'll be a radio stage play before we're done.
It's going to be too powerful. I feel like the biggest feedback, actually, Max, not to derail us immediately, the biggest feedback I've gotten on the podcast from people that's negative is people are like, I really do not like the soundboard. It's one of those things where you're like, how can't you like this?
And we just lost all of our listeners.
Yeah, the listener count just goes like 0.
I'm also sad. I don't have a soundboard. Where's my soundboard?
Oh, you do. If you scroll to the bottom of your screen, you'll see a thing that looks like a trumpet playing, and you can play. Quack.
It's very limited.
You can. There he does. He got it. He found his
I like
duck.
the duck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
mojo with this duck.
Now that we've all got our
Put
fun,
the power of the soundboard in the hands of the guest. That's not a good idea.
That's high risk, high reward. Well, Max, thank you for coming on and coming in hot to the podcast with the soundboard and all. So just for our listeners, I know that some of them may remember you from hopping on when we were at, God, which year have you come on both years maybe of when we were at annual
Pretty
communication?
Sure
Yeah, I think you popped on both, to be honest, unless I'm remembering.
It might have
right.
been, yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
So you guys might remember him if you made it that far back, and if you're a newer listener, well, welcome to Max. We brought him on. So for our listeners who may not have heard you on there, can you introduce yourself and just explain a little bit about what got you into Masonry and what keeps you in Masonry?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Max Skenandore. I'm the current Worshipful Master of Rhinelander 242 and District Education Officer District 3. I like long walks on the beach and fun facts about the American Revolution, and it's a...
And fun facts about the American Revolution. Got it? Yep. Keep going.
Yep. So part 2 of your question was what got me into Masonry and what kept me here?
Yes, sir.
All right, so for that, just a little bit of background. I don't know if I got into this when you guys sat me down for the conversation at AC. I was really blessed to be able to join at a super young age. I joined the fraternity at the age of 19, and at that point in my life, I was still going through college. I had just met a girlfriend at the time, who is now my fiance. I was just kind of looking for what I wanted to do with my life and in the world. I kind of stumbled into it by accident by meeting a Mason and talking to him. He said one thing that always sticks with me to this very day, and it's that a Mason isn't a boy, he's not a guy, he's not a dude. Mason is a man. And that's what I was looking for at the time. So that's what got me in. What's kept me here is that that's true, and then also the brothers who I get to interact with, whether it be sometimes down at annual communication or the guys in my lodge up here or guys like you online. That's what keeps me coming back is the brotherhood that we have together.
So a hard warm-up question to hit you with immediately, because I know a lot of people are going to be interested. Your lodge, Rhinelander Lodge, is home of one of the coolest logos in Masonry. Featuring the Hodag. We have a lot of listeners who are not from Wisconsin and some who may not know. Can you give us a little bit of history about the Hodag? Because I want to get ho down with it.
So I just hope that I don't invoke one coming after me by talking about it.
Uh-oh.
But the Hodag is truly a fearsome creature. You guys are really lucky down by you that you don't get them. But localized in Rhinelander, we've got this fearsome creature that stalks the woods called the Hodag. It's a green horned monster. It's really the only other way to describe it. kind of a unique creature with spines along its back, and it's a mammal that lays eggs, not unlike a platypus, but much, much, much more dangerous. And with a penchant for hunting down white bulldogs.
Excellent. I will put on the episode thumbnail with your picture, a Hodag, the logo, because it is really good. So for listeners, when you see it, their logo has this image of the Hodag, and the Hodag is a very popular Wisconsin cryptid. Is that the word I look for, Max? Is it cryptid? Cryptoid?
Yeah, it's a cryptid.
Cryptid, made up by one of the world's coolest charlatans. Fun fact with the Hodag, this guy showed it off, his Hodag, so much that the federal government came to check it out. The guy had to be like, "Oh, dude, sorry." Like
Andrew, I'm kind of hurt that you would paint Worshipful Brother Eugene Shepard as a charlatan.
Was he a Mason?
Yeah, absolutely. His gravestone has a square and compass on it, and his home, which is now a museum, has a plaque dedicated to it.
So, hold on. All right. Can you, for our listeners, I didn't know that this was even a thing. Can you actually do you know a little bit about the actual history of the real story of the Hodag about this brother?
Okay, so I don't know. I don't think it's really known. There's a lot of people who are up here who are going to know a lot more about this than me. What I do know is that in the 1890s, Brother Eugene Shepard, who was known as a prankster, was employed up here in the logging companies that were booming up in the Rhinelander area, which is how that town got its start. And to kind of drum up, from my understanding, interest in the town and to get people to remember its name and want to come here, this was pulled off as a hoax. They created a fake Hodag cadaver, which got scientists from Madison to come all the way up here to try and examine it. They then disproved the existence. However, I just think that they weren't applying the scientific method hard enough. And then from there, the community here kind of really embraced it. It's just blown up since.
I love the Hodag, and I think it's great that your city has that, because Wisconsin doesn't have that many good cryptid. Bigfoot's everywhere at this point. Everyone's seen a quote-unquote seen a Bigfoot somewhere, so everywhere has the Bigfoot. No one has, it's not unique. We don't got no Loch Ness Monster. Well, actually, I think we do have some sort of sea monster in Devil's Lake or something. But the only other one that I'm aware of in the state is the werewolf, the Beast of Bray Road, which is out by Elkhorn. That's the only other one I'm aware of, and by far, the Hodag is the coolest.
Oh, I agree. I think the Hodag is definitely the coolest. In fact, I don't know if you knew this, I think the word for somebody who's from Milwaukee is Milwaukeean. Is that correct?
Milwaukeean?
Yeah, Milwaukeean.
Milwaukeean.
In Rhinelander, if you're from or live in Rhinelander, you're a Hodag. That's the name for the denizens of this fair city.
Oh man, that's so good. That makes me really wish that people who are from Mount Horeb just got called trolls.
Trolls.
That's their thing. They should just take that. Anyone from Mount Horeb who's a Freemason who's trying to drum up popularity for your city, go find a troll corpse and let's get this bad boy going even further so you guys can become the trolls.
In all fairness, I absolutely love the trolls and love Mount Horeb. That's a
I do too.
place to go to. But yes, that would be great.
My grandparents are from the city, like right nearby
like
there. So I go up through the troll way quite a bit in my life.
This is a total rabbit hole, but I feel like there's one other cryptid in Wisconsin that I saw.
The Mothman.
Recently, and I'm trying to find. No.
I thought the Mothman was Appalachian.
The Mothman is now like the Sasquatch everywhere. The Mothman was spotted at the State Fair a couple of years ago. The Mothman was spotted, and it's just now, it's become like a countrywide thing. It originally was Appalachian, but yeah, just like countrywide now. Everyone sees Mothman.
So what I'm hearing is we are all the Mothman.
The Masons are the Mothman. We are hiding the Mothman. That's what you find out in the 33rd degree, that we're all Mothman.
I was not expecting a brand new conspiracy theory to be born right here live.
That's why we have to turn all the lights off, because if there's too many lights at lodge, everyone runs at them and gets injured.
We have the Goat Man. It's out by Hubertus by Holy Hill on one of the roads out there.
That is I thought the Goat Man was the same as the Beast of Bray Road. They're both in Walworth.
No, because this is on Hogsback Road. This isn't, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I remember that one. There's also the only other myth that we have of like mythical people besides there's some stories of like is Haunchyville. That's the only one that's a Milwaukee one. And I'm not going to talk about Haunchyville too much because I feel like it's not politically correct anymore to talk about Haunchyville too much.
The town that I went to high school in has its own mythical figure, Larry the Log Roller, who's kind of a knockoff of Paul Bunyan.
Oh,
Well, which one's cooler?
Oh, definitely Larry the Log Roller.
He doesn't cut him; he just rolls him.
Yep. He's rolling them logs, and he has purple overalls.
That's a good upgrade.
do they still do like an annual like Hodag thing up there, or is that kind of dropped off, or is that still going on?
Well, actually, Hodag Heritage Day is a state holiday.
What do we do on there? We hodag it up?
Oh, definitely. Well, there's a big festival that happens down in one of the parks up here in Rhinelander, and it's just Hodag themed every day, everything. And for the last several years that it's gone on, the governor of the state has issued a proclamation declaring that day Hodag Heritage Day, which is May 16th, so it's coming up. It's very relevant.
You know what I'm enjoying right now?
It's coming.
How I thought the Hodag thing was going to be an unrelated rabbit hole, but then the Hodag was made up by a Mason. So, like, now it's just 100% topically appropriate.
Oh, yeah. It's Hodags all the way down up here.
If you didn't know, at the bottom of the rabbit hole is a Hodag. So you just got to be careful when you're going down the rabbit hole.
Or as we like to call them up here, the Hodag holes. Which is
we're going down the Hodag hole again.
Yep. If I ever open a golf course up here, I have the perfect name for it.
That's so good, Matt. Officially on the podcast, when we say we're no longer saying we're going down the rabbit hole, we're going to say we're going down the Hodag hole. And we say that to guests who aren't from Wisconsin. I'm going to really enjoy it.
It's gonna mess a lot of people up. It'll be wonderful.
Here we go, going down the Hodag hole again.
Right.
They'll be
Our
like,
listeners
"What
are going to
hole?"
have to hear us repeatedly explain what a Hodag hole is.
I'll tell you when you're older, and then we just keep moving on.
Frankly, I love this.
All right, let's get back to a little bit.
Let's
of
bring it back
Masonry.
around.
Yep.
Right. So, Max, you have been Worshipful Master of 2 different lodges now, right? Correct? Crandon
Correct,
and
yeah.
Rhinelander?
Yes.
How has that experience been managing the culture and personalities of 2 different lodges, obviously at 2 different times, but to be able to kind of change gears in leadership styles and stuff like that to fit each lodge the way it needs to be?
So far, I'd say they're 2 very different lodges. Just to start that off, Crandon is smaller in membership, but it's also more tight-knit. What I also like a lot about that lodge, I'm an adopted Hodag. I've lived here for almost 8 years now. I'm originally from further out in the northeastern part of the state, in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So Crandon was, for me, a long time the largest town that you could travel to. School I went to had a body population of 800 students, and I had to graduate 25. And so that area is home to me in a very real sense. And so that's why I pluraled there. That's why I wanted to get involved in that lodge being successful. And that closeness and tight-knitness makes it really easy to work as a team. And it definitely makes the moving in one direction, especially when you start getting the good things going and everybody's getting excited and pumped up. That's where that lodge has its strong points. Over in Rhinelander, bigger membership, bigger town, a lot more events happening right in the center. And so managing a lot more moving parts, and then going from a team to a team that has teams within teams has been, which is close to my work experience too. I'm a retail operation, and so that has translated well for me. I'm glad that I had that experience going into it. So it's been very, very different, but both have been an extremely rewarding experience.
That's awesome. What would you say? How would you describe the culture? You briefly kind of described a little bit about the culture of both lodges. One a little smaller, more intimate. The other one larger, a little more busy. What would you say the coolest thing you think each lodge does is?
So the coolest thing I would say that Crandon does, we just pulled it off, is we pull off the children's Easter egg run that happens annually. It's an event that came into our possession from the city about 3 years ago, and it's just been an absolute hoot to be able to participate in that. Brotherhood really comes together, and it's just a really great time. The other thing that lodge does cool is we provide a space to the public during Halloween trick-or-treating, and the lodge is centrally located in the smack dab in the middle of town. So just handing out hot chocolate for free, and then having a warm space that's just dry for kids to be able to come into, and parents as well, just to get out of the cold. And both of those are really well attended. I think like time we did the Halloween, close to 600 kids cumulatively running in and out of our building, and trick-or-treating can sometimes get really crappy weather up here. So it's definitely appreciated by the community, and they're starting to recognize that. Over in Rhinelander, some of the coolest things we do, and as well, one of the things that we're for in a relationship that we have is we're the exclusive malt beverage and beer vendor for the Oneida County Fair. And that one, everybody comes together. 4-day event that has multiple shifts, so we have electronic sign-up sheets, and every single year there's always the anxiety we have to, and it's a success because everybody's able to come together as one team.
I'm just trying to figure out. I'm sorry. I think it's me having some connectivity issues over here.
I'm having it too.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, we're cutting out a little bit. I'm working on it behind the scenes.
Well, if I can add something to Rhinelander, I also want to give a shout out to a brother that one of the other coolest things of Rhinelander Lodge is our chaplain, Rob Borchardt, who had the most phenomenal of any chaplain, I would go as far as to say, in the state of Wisconsin. And so him in a degree is just every single time just a jaw-dropping experience.
Awesome. I think, Matt, I think that fixed it. Sorry to our listeners. We were realizing, I think if we turn off our video, to me, it sounds like the sound quality improved. They didn't like looking at us. The camera did not like us.
Right. Yeah. Well, got to play around sometimes. So, and here we are. Now we're better. Everything sounds a lot better now. So, yeah, no, that's awesome, Max. It sounds like both lodges in slightly different ways really make sure that they're present and involved in the community and make sure people know they're still around. So that's great to hear.
So, Max, with you having been a Mason since, how old are you now? So you've been a Mason for how many years? You started when you were 19?
Yeah, so I started when I was 19. I'm 26 now. I think I'm on year 6 now.
So after 6 years in Masonry, I want to take you back. I want to take you back to the past. Who would you say your first Masonic mentor was, and what did they model for you that sticks with you to this day?
So I'm not actually even going to go with my proposer or my mentor. The guy who always sticks out for this, like me, and he, in a lot of ways, not just feels like my brother, but also he felt a lot like my grandfather, is Jim Suffield. And gosh, I feel like he taught me almost everything that I know. Emphasized brotherly love and just getting your nose down and doing the work and just being able to be caring and help the people around you. That the lessons that he taught me, I feel things that I'm going to pass on to my children and just carry on his legacy inside of the lodge as well. He's one of those guys who, when you hear the term, he was a Mason, he's the guy who always works out in my mind as that. I was very blessed to be able to have him as a part of my life before he passed.
I mean, I think that those mentors, when they come along, it is like one of those super special things within the fraternity for sure. Like I think we all have the grandpa mentor, the wise one who passes on the wisdom to us, which I think is pretty sweet.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was like for me.
Yeah, that's a popular figure in Freemasonry, and any of us are blessed to have those types of mentors around, and it's great when you have somebody who's a just source of wisdom, but also understands that he's going to make you find it yourself to a certain extent as well. Like he's not going to give you the answers, but he's going to show you how to get to them.
So I have another good question for you, Max. I'm gonna give you a thinker. Are you ready for a thinker?
Yeah, hit me with it.
So what would you say How would you say you bring the work of the lodge into your daily life? How do you bring Masonry out of the lodge into your world?
So I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually. So that feels kind of relevant. I feel very spiritually connected in my faith. That's one thing that's very important. Lodge has always felt like I take things from that, pull it into my faith, take things from my faith, pull it into lodge. And it's also the cardinal virtues have been another thing that can I better put those to use in my daily life. And then I've always, ever since I became a Mason, I code of conduct we talk about is super serious, and that it's super easy to look at how we have our fellowship in lodge, because we all have this thing that's in, but if you're able to pull that and treat a total stranger in the same way, that's what I think the core of what we're trying to, what the essence of making good men better is. And so that's something I try and keep to as many daily interactions.
Absolutely.
The ring that I wear has the plumb line on it, and so that's able to be a visual reminder. I be upright with people, and then also correct my posture because they have a tendency to slouch, which is one of my bad habits.
I think it's a bad habit we all have, honestly.
Nah, I never slouch. How dare you? You slouchers can talk to yourself.
I don't.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause.
Check that ego.
I'm gonna pause for 10 seconds here. All right, send it, Matt.
All right. Well, now after we resolve some technical issues, Max, how has being district education officer been for you? What's that experience been like? What have you taken away from it? I know you've offered a lot to people in the educations you've offered and stuff like that, but what have you learned from it?
So yeah, definitely I've learned a lot from it, and just the experience has been a very phenomenal and very early on. District deputy up here, Corey, gave me a challenge of, I want you to be the best district education officer in the state of Wisconsin. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to rise to the level of that, but I will do my best. And so far it's been really great. Working with different brothers in all of the lodges across District 3 has been super rewarding, especially because Masonry is cool because you're going to meet a lot of guys who opportunity to meet before, and this means that I can meet even more brothers who I wouldn't really necessarily have a reason to travel all the way over to their lodges or interact with them on a more operational basis rather than just a fellowship one. And on top of that, it's also really rewarding to be able to sometimes just take some direction and do the work. Being in Masonry, being a leader is very important, but then also going through the junior officer line, you guys have talked about in a recent episode that's just coming to my mind, is also important. So being able to just take a set of instructions and act on them as efficiently as I can has also been just a super rewarding experience. And I hope that I've been doing good at it. I like doing it. And then the things that I've learned are I've learned a lot more about what our organization, how it works as a structure. A lot of that I wasn't necessarily very familiar with at the outset of accepting the district education officer. And then learning a lot more about educating and people's learning styles has also been a big part of the learning curve for this. Just like a super basic thing that I learned was when giving a presentation, generally people in northern Wisconsin will not answer a question in a group discussion right away. And that doesn't mean that they don't have anything to say. That just means that they're taking their time to formulate what they want to say with the exact words they want to say. So not being afraid of silence when giving a presentation has been a very key insight, and then passing that on to different people who give education in that as well, I think has been get some rewarding results, because the things people have to say when they take time to think about how they want to phrase it will give you some super crazy answers you may have never expected before and add so much to a discussion. So not being afraid of silence is one of the big things that I learned in educating.
No, that's awesome. And I have to say, you, from what I saw when I came up to your district education day, you're doing an excellent job up there, and I really appreciated you had some unique things in there, like doing it the wrong way, which was like a structured lodge scenario where people were intentionally doing things the wrong way so we could explain how they're done properly and why they're done properly. And I think that why was very important. And I think that was a really clever idea and well designed. And I think it could be useful everywhere, honestly.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. And I can't take all the credit. I stole the concept for the idea straight from the Master's book by Claudie. And then the why of it, that's always been something very important to me when learning ritual. To allude back to like my first mentor, Jim Suffield, one of the lessons he taught me when learning ritual was he would sit down with me, and when I was trying to learn a part, like for example, the junior war address during opening of a lodge, he would explain to me exactly what is being said and what the meaning of it is. Said you can't really begin to memorize something unless you understand what you're saying and why.
Yeah, and that's that is one of those things that I feel like is that advice that a lot of good ritualists always recommend. I think it's like everyone just wants to focus on just the words so much that they forget that the why matters, and that's actually the most important part too. The memorization of the words is just, it's trivial. It's that we can not only memorize the words, but that we absorb them. And it does make memory work easier.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't remember who told me this, but I had a brother say to me once that the way that you say it, you should tell yourself that you should try and take on the persona that I am the first person to ever say this in the whole world and make it organic.
Ooh.
I like that.
I always try to imagine that I try to make a fictional character of that part that I'm playing. So I'll be like, what would this part sound like as a guy?
I like that. I like that a lot.
So I might go, a deacon is a messenger to a certain extent. What would a messenger sound like? Or a warden is a guard, or somebody who's protecting gates. What would a protector sound like? The master is the king of the lodge. What would a king sound like? Like, that's what I always think could be fun too. And make up what I think the archetype would sound like.
That is kind of clever. I kind of like that idea. That might change how I look at memorizing certain parts.
What would a steward sound like? A whiny boy.
Jeez.
You will see that with chaplains sometimes, though. Like, there'll be a chaplain who I can tell is channeling their inner whoever their priest was as a kid. That's the voice they're trying to put on. They're like, and lo and behold. Wait, mine always sound like Kermit the Frog. I can't remember how to do Kermit. That's how my priest sound. If I was chaplain, I'd do it like Kermit. Wow, and the Lord came to me in a dream.
Does that mean I have to try to sound like a professor once I start learning lectures?
I think it depends.
Or okay, let me restructure that. For like the middle chamber lecture in the Fellowcraft, I feel like you have to sound like a Plato or an Aristotle while like walking around and giving that lecture.
Yeah, I agree. Or a mathematician, play Pythagoras.
There's a brother up here in my home lodge who does the dewdrop lecture in the Fellowcraft, and the way that he recites it is with such passion that it's almost like he's on the edge of his seat, like, you need to know this. I have to tell you this. And his performance is always super compelling.
And like, you'll see that, especially, it's easy to see people getting into character when you're doing like the various parts that are more character-y, if you're thinking MM or some other parts. But it's interesting when someone does it in those lectures well, because I think it pays off big time.
I agree with that. And I kind of like that idea of like, I don't want to say a sense of urgency, because you shouldn't be like trying to rush through this stuff, right? But a sense of, like, you have to know this, and I just cannot wait to get it out of my head and impart this knowledge on you. Like, that seems like a really fun way to deliver it.
So what would you say, as you've been doing your role as a district education officer, what would you say the type of assignments that you've received that you're the most passionate about? What makes you the most excited to do within your role?
I think the ones that are my favorites are if I'm asked to go to a lodge and give a presentation. I don't know why. Those are always my favorite, just because, especially if you've got kind of a theme and you have similar education and you can see different ways that different people might think about a topic. So those are 100% my favorite, whether it's talking about the education programs that the Grand Lodge has on the resources available through the education committee, or just a Masonic topic on its own, or a topic that's, tangentially related that you might be able to work into a Masonic topic. So that's my favorite kind of assignment.
That's a good one. Andrew, you got something? My brain just completely, and I don't swear on the podcast often, but my brain just completely shit the bed.
So, for our listeners, we got to let them know that this is not Max's fault. Matt has not been drinking for about 3 weeks, and he just decided to have his first cocktail today, and all he does is eat meat, and he's down like 20 pounds. So I slowly got to watch him get to the bottom of that single cocktail as he slowly starts to just go into the void, apparently.
I think we've got to give some optimism. I think he might hit a flow state soon.
I think he's gone down the Hodag hole.
I may have gone down the Hodag hole.
So, So, Max, having served as a past master twice, 2 separate lodges, how many years was between when you were the master the first time and then the second time at Rhinelander?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I kind of wish I had spread it out more. I became master of Crandon in 2024 and took it on in 2025. I've now transitioned into the secretary role in 2026, and in the same year I've become master of my home lodge, Rhinelander.
Jeez. You're just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, no kidding.
So in these back-to-back years, man, that might be one of the more unique ones I've heard. Someone going into secretary and then, oh my God.
Honestly, Lady Anna's patience with me has been just an absolute blessing. Having her support, I just would not be able to do it without her, and I thank her every day for her patience with my BS.
What would you say would be your advice to an incoming Worshipful master taking the Oriental chair, as it's fresh in your mind because you've basically been doing it straight?
Yeah, so definitely you're going to want to ask for advice. I mean, you're going to want to ask for it early, like about a year before you want to enter into the East, to try and get an idea of who am I, what do I want to do? And there may be answers there might be issues that you might not even know could come. And so being able to get advice from wise brothers, even if they haven't said, you never know what sort of leadership experience another brother might have and what they can bring to the table. And then being able to take that and translate it into, okay, here is all of the things, all of the advice pieces that I've been, what aligns with my core values, who I am as a person, and then how do I want to use this to work with a team of people and be able to turn that into more than just words and into something that can actually cause action and see results and get things done. I would also say, don't stress out too much about it. It's going to challenge you in ways that you are not going to be prepared for, and that's okay because you have people that you can rely on even after your installation.
So essentially, yeah, I mean, I've been finding that as well, that if you find something that comes up that you think you're like, whoa, I didn't see this coming, you can always find someone who has gone
definitely
through it and be like, what this? And they're like, oh, I remember those. You're like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. There's always somebody, hopefully, that's had to deal with it before, or at least somebody you can go to and go, am I thinking about this correctly? Is this the way this situation should be handled? Right? At least let me bounce the ideas off of you and let's see what we can figure out.
Yeah. Have you ever got emails from this crazy woman? And they're like, oh, yeah, She comes out of the ductwork when you become master. You didn't hear about her? You're like, oh, no, I didn't know that was a thing. And like, oh, yeah. Part of the process.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's great.
That's our cryptid. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good place for us to wrap it. We start the episode with cryptid and we end it with cryptid.
And you ended it by breaking Matt, apparently.
Yeah, the crazy lady of the crazy lady of Lake. I wasn't expecting that one.
The ducked lady of Lake.
God.
Awesome. Max, thank you for joining us today for a late night podcast. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you and to talk with you. So looking forward to seeing you. I'm assuming you're going to be at Annual Communication this year.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Heck yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at AC. And yeah, thanks for coming on and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Thanks for coming on, Max. It was great to have you.
And to our listeners, what up? Follow us on socials. Follow us on... What are we on?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the only three. I really don't do anything with our X because why?
Yeah.
And if you ever want to get a hold of us, feel free to email us at
Discord.com. You can join us on Discord and you can do.
That's not email.
So if you go on our Discord, Matt and I are going to start doing Wednesday evening or spontaneous evenings when I'm editing hangouts where you can chat with us live. And you can always email us at timefordfellowship@gmail.com.
Yeah. All right. Well, as soon as we get off of this here, we'll be over on Discord. But you'll be hearing this afterwards, so it doesn't matter. Join us next time.
Cool. See you down the Hodag hole. Bye.
Bye.